Time and money are precious. So do you spend your hard-earned dollars and banked vacation time to go back to somewhere you know and love? Or do you risk it and explore a new destination? In today's podcast, we will debate that common dilemma. And who do you align with? Are you on team tried and true or team somewhere new? Wheels up!
We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Welcome back to the Me and Her Travel Podcast. This is episode 35. Our topic today is something that we struggle with often and can imagine that many of you do as well. So let's debate it. Let's face it, it is fun to have an adventure and explore new places, but let's say you only have 1 week for vacation. You might not want to roll the dice on an unknown, and the temptation to go back to a spot that has been amazing to you might be a strong pull.
True, because nothing says vacation stress like spending thousands of dollars to maybe have a good time.
Exactly. You could be sipping coffee at your favorite spot, and that makes me think of our chai lattes in Roatan, overlooking Half Moon Bay. I could go back there in a heartbeat. Or you could be crying in a rental car because nothing looks like the pictures or was as you expected it to be. So let's explore some of those thoughts and the thought processes that go into making these decisions.
Okay, so let's start with team tried and true. So why do you go back to somewhere that you've already been and maybe been there a few times?
Because it's a guaranteed win. You already know that A, where to stay, B, what to do, C, what to skip, and D, what you want to do this time versus previous visits.
That's true. So there's something definitely underrated about having zero learning curve when you go back to somewhere that you've already been. You don't have to think about it. You just get off the airplane, you show up at your resort or wherever you're going, and ta-da, you're instantly in vacation mode. So you're already making the most of it, you're relaxed, and you're having fun immediately. And that is a strong pull. That is a desire that most people have. Like, let's just hit the ground running, right?
And you're not wasting half your time trying to figure things out. Referring to guidebooks, asking locals questions, trying to look things up on your maps, arguing with your wife or family because you are tired, hangry, or lost.
What? That would never happen.
No, never.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So I'm curious. What's a place that you would go back to tomorrow, today, whenever, without hesitation?
That's easy. Well, there's multiple, but probably top of our list is we love Charleston. We've been there, I don't know, 5 or 6 times at least.
We've taken 2 separate couples with us. Like, you got to come with us.
Brought them with us
So
because we
fun.
know how much we love it. I could go back there tomorrow, and it seems like if we don't get there every few years or so, we yearn for it. We want to find a way we need to find a way to get back.
Yeah. I don't know. I think sometimes we love a place because perhaps our very first trip there was so good that it just kind of holds a special place in your heart. So you want to go back for that reason. And then sometimes I think that there's just something comforting, but yet exciting at the same time about a repeat destination. So it feels like visiting an old friend. You show up and you're like, oh, I missed you. I love you so much. So it's comforting in that manner, but then there still can be excitement like, okay, what are we going to do with our special friend this time? So it's kind of both. You do have that heartwarming thought about it, but then there's still some excitement there.
Totally. I can totally agree with that. We've done so many things in Charleston, like Rainbow Row of the houses, walking the Battery. We've toured some historic homes, took in the old Slave Mart Museum, which is just
Really
sad, but just gut-wrenching, but really informative, and you almost should do it. We've been on multiple ghost tours, oh my God, and history tours, and we have sampled shrimp and grits as in almost every restaurant we go to because we love it so much. The low country
We don't get that
food.
in Minnesota very often.
No,
So
and we do. It's not the same. Many places as we could in Charleston are foodie places. So we love all the different places to eat. We visited the famous Angel Tree, which is this 2,000-year-old tree, Boone Hall Plantation, and we've also rented e-bikes and explored the Isle of Palms and beaches and Sullivan's Islands and out to see Fort Moultrie. We've also toured out to the Fort Sumter, That was really a long time ago. We should probably go back.
I barely remember, so we could
We've
do it again.
kayaked with dolphins. We've enjoyed happy hour from rooftops and with fantastic views. And we've shopped at the artisan markets and boutiques. And I have tried desperately over to just hopefully bump into Bill Murray around town because he lives there, but alas, to no avail.
Oh, that would be cool. Well, and there's still so much more that we haven't even done yet. There are more plantations to tour, there are more renowned restaurants to try, and we've never been on a whale watching tour or a harbor tour. I don't even know how or why we haven't done that. We haven't been over to that Patriots Point for the Naval and Maritime Museum. We've actually never taken a food tour in Charleston. Like, we've eaten
I
plenty.
can't believe we haven't done that.
I don't either. Maybe because I've had to go gluten-free in recent years and that makes it trickier, but still, sometimes they are really great at accommodating. So that's crazy. We've never seen the town from their iconic horse-drawn carriages, which it's like the symbol of Charleston, practically. And then there's a ton of other museums that we have left unexplored as well. So there's still a lot to do there.
Okay, so that was basically a mini podcast on Charleston in list form, but I think our listeners get the point of what we're trying to say is that we love Charleston for its dignified vibe and historic charm. It's a fun mix of culture and outdoor adventure, and we will continue to go back. Always.
Yeah, now we don't even have to do a podcast about it 'cause we just gave them the short version. All right, but
You're welcome.
let's be honest. If we're talking about us, team somewhere new are the people who get to experience the real magic, don't you
Or
think?
disaster.
Maybe both, and that's part of the story too, right? So the new places give you first time experiences and unexpected moments, and they are the ones that provide the stories that you're going to tell at the bonfire that we've talked about before. Bonfire stories are great, and that's how you get the good ones.
Yeah, nobody tells a story that starts with, so we went back to the same restaurant and
That would
it was so good again.
that would be really, really exciting. Yeah, so I mean, I think new trips expand your world. You encounter new sights and sounds and tastes and languages, and you gather those new stories and you learn. You learn about yourself, you learn about the world, you grow, and you can revel in the differences and the new delights that you discover. And I think that is really exciting and actually life changing. So, repeat trips are comfortable and fun and relaxing, but are they life changing? I don't know.
So the question, an underlying question there is, and I think it comes down to priorities, is what do you prioritize? Happiness of an old friend at like a comforting place, or the novelty of a new place?
I know, I think that's the main question. What do? Do you go with the guaranteed satisfaction? It's a safe choice. You already know you love it. So do you go with that? Or do you take a risk and go on this giant question mark?
Or would you rather have a guaranteed 8 or 9 out of 10 kind of trip, or B, risk it and hope that you have the potential for a 10, but it could also end up being a 4?
Yeah, I mean, that's the game. I think we typically risk it. So then my question is, does it really just come down to personality? Are we just risk takers? Are we kind of gamblers by nature? I think we are a little bit.
I think that might be a bit of it and what to do with it, but I really think it mostly comes down to curiosity or comfort. We are always wondering what is around the next corner. Can you think of a destination that, something that we took a risk on that really paid off? Like, hey, we really,
Like
stepped
a trip
out of,
we've taken, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, actually, a fairly recent one. I think we took a risk on our trip to Egypt this past fall, this last year. I really did not know what to expect about that. Some friends invited us along on that trip, and I had a lot of hesitations. I was very nervous about it. I actually had to go Google, like, is it safe to go to Egypt? Because I just didn't know enough about traveling in that part of the world. It feels very exotic. It feels very far away. There's a political climate. I don't know. I was worried about what to eat, what to drink. I was worried that it was going to be so hot. I just thought there were a lot of unknowns, and I felt uncomfortable about it. When you have that many question marks, it makes you feel uncomfortable. So we could have taken that money that we spent and gone back to our tried and true places like Amsterdam or Croatia. But it turned out that that trip was absolutely astounding. It's
Amaze
maybe
balls.
it was maybe one of the best trips we've ever taken. I loved it so much. I can't recommend it enough to people. You just got to go for it. And I don't know what I was so worried about, but I do believe that my naivete and my ignorance could have stopped me from having an absolutely amazing experience that was life changing. I think going to Egypt, wow, it's gobsmacking. So I am so glad that we did that. But here's, well, okay, so if there's a trip that we've taken that you think didn't live up to your expectations, and maybe you wish you had gone back to somewhere tried and true instead, what would that be?
You know,
I couldn't think
think
of one
we
really.
thought we've been talking about this, and I was thinking about this one, and honestly, I don't think I have any trip regrets. I'm a fairly positive person generally, and you can find something special or unique about anywhere that we go, and I'm rarely disappointed because of that. I hold on to the awesome moments and conveniently forget or overlook the negatives. For example, like I was trying to come up with an something the way to explain it. I like golfing, but I'm not as good as I used to be. But if I go out and score in the high 90s or even over 100, that is not a good round of golf for me. Okay. However, if during that same round of golf I also get a birdie or two birdies, or if I'm even lucky enough to get an eagle, and the overall score is still really crap, I I take that as a awesome day because I got a couple birdies or I got an eagle. So I take the positive out of it, and I think that's the same thing I'd like to do with vacations. I think we also do very extensive research and much more of than that. We know what we're going to come into with some of that, and we're not going to have those big giant surprises. Where I think a lot of people, when they just take a trip, we're going to go on this cool new adventure trip. They may not have done as much research as we do, and that's when they sometimes find themselves in bad predicaments or not ready for that museum to be closed or something else.
That's true. We do very extensive research, so we're rarely surprised by. I mean, even when we do our research, we are sometimes still surprised by certain things. But I do think we try to limit those unknowns by doing that. So I don't know. I think by and large, though, there must be some kind of happy medium here. So maybe there's a way to get a little bit of your tried and true, but then also a little bit of that somewhere new so that it can satisfy both parties in a relationship. Like, let's say if they fall on different sides of that debate and they argue about where they're going all the time, there's got to be somewhere, some happy medium, don't you think?
So a half safe, half risky approach, like going back to a country you love, but exploring a new city or region.
Yeah, yeah. Like, so, yeah, anchoring a trip maybe with a familiar place, but then you could add something new on the front or the back end. So, can you think of a time when we've actually done a combo trip like this and maybe we didn't even realize what we were doing
I think we do
at
it
the
more often
time?
than you think. Actually, yes. A tried and true destination for us is Key West. We love
Mm.
it.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
just like Charleston, we go back over and over. I mean, we've been to Key West probably, I know, at least 6 times.
I know
Kind of
we were
lose track,
counting, we couldn't
sorry.
even figure it
Uh,
out.
but can't seem to get enough of it. But one time we thought we'd mix it up and we flew into Miami and we stayed on South Beach for a couple of days. And then we rented a car and worked our way down the Keys. We visited John Pennekamp State Park for snorkeling and being chased by sharks,
Sharks.
and
That was
stayed
unexpected.
exactly, and stayed at a cute B&B on Big Pine Key with the key deer running across the mangroves. That was really
They
cool.
swam,
They
actually.
swam there. They
Yeah,
bounded across.
that was neat.
Before then we made our way down to Key West, and the funny thing is, as pleasant as that all was, we haven't done it again and prefer to just now fly into Key West directly. But we still are trying new things when we go there. Last time we went down, we went out to the national park, which was awesome for me, not so great for you.
Well, that was just another excursion at Key West, though, but we didn't change, like, we just flew into Key West and did the whole
You're
thing. But
kind of
the
locked in when you're in
Miami
Key
thing
West.
was a combo, definitely, but we haven't done it again. So does that mean that it wasn't successful?
No, it was good. It's successful. It's just that you got to try and do new things at the places you've gone to before. If you go back and do the same, like if you go to a tried and true for some people would be a lot of people. We have friends like this that go to a resort in Mexico and they sit at that pool for 7 days
Yeah, the
and
same
then they go
resort.
home and they don't have any desire to go anywhere else. And
Yeah.
they're in a comfort level. That's what gives them peace and happiness. And that's cool. That's not for me.
It's kind of like they're home away from home, maybe. And think about all the people who have timeshares.
Oh yeah.
and they have not only the same place, but the same week every single year. They maybe go
We
back to
thought
that
about
same
that.
place.
We thought about that in our early years of marriage, and we even had a timeshare, but we got rid of it because we were like, we don't ever want to use it.
Well, you
We
can
only
do,
wanted to trade it.
you can do, that's true. I mean, you can do different destinations with your timeshare, but yeah, I don't know. So, well, that's interesting. So, I think the combo trips might work at least one time for that destination. Like, it's kind of hard to do. Like, we use the example of Key West.
That's a
That's a
bad
very,
example.
well, it's an isolated destination.
Yep.
So, we could do something a little bit on the front end or back end, but you can't do that every time. So, for example, if we were talking Italy, and if you really like Rome, like
Which we
we
do.
do, then you could easily combo staying in Rome for a portion of your time, but then adventuring out to go explore other parts of the country too. So you really
This
can't.
sounds
I
vaguely
don't.
familiar.
So like Sunday.
Yeah, I leave in 5 days for there.
Yeah.
The real question is, yes, you could go back to Rome, but are you sacrificing experience other amazing places in Europe, like going to the Eastern Bloc countries or someplace else completely different and not in the same country again and again?
So you're saying not go back to Rome because then you're
I
kind
can't
of
do that. I
you're
can't say no.
sacrificing
I
other
can't say
countries.
no.
I don't know. How do you decide? I want to do both. I'm so torn by that. But I don't know. You know what the deciding factor actually has been for us in recent years, and this could help people? We actually let ourselves be guided by experiences and opportunities. So, is there something going on in a certain destination that entices us, that makes us want to return to that destination, and it makes it a little bit more worthwhile to go there? For example, we love Paris, but we've been quite a few times. So, how many times do you keep going back to Paris? I don't know.
Forever, as many times
Maybe.
as it takes.
Well, we knew we had to go back again a couple years ago because it was for the Summer
Had to.
Olympics.
Had to.
Well, so it was a tried and true destination, but we went there for a very specific
True.
and special reason.
Similar to last summer. When we went back to Italy last summer for a tried and true because we absolutely had to see
Had to.
see Andrea Bocelli perform in the ancient amphitheater in Pompeii. Now we've talked about that, but you would go to Rome, spend some time in Rome, and then you move around down to Pompeii.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, maybe we need to start scoping out some unique or new experiences that we could have in Charleston or Key West, and then we could feel good about going back to those places.
Maybe.
Good excuse.
And that would be fun, but ultimately, we never need an excuse to go back to visit our tried and trues. That's the nice thing, is that you don't have to think about it. You can just do it, because those trips are they're fewer and farther between than are sometimes somewhere new. We go somewhere new every year, right? But our tried and true, we don't go back to maybe once every 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah. So perhaps you visit your tried and true place when you need like a serious recharge and you want to have something familiar, or maybe when you just have less time because you already know what to do there. So maybe you could go there on a weekend and it doesn't require a lot of planning. It doesn't even have to be a long visit. You kind of just know what you want to do there. And then maybe you save your somewhere new destination for when you have extra time, energy, and maybe money, because maybe it would be a longer trip. So when you've saved a little bit, then maybe you go back or go to your somewhere new destination.
I see that as also let's say you got kids and you're trying to get away and you're stressed, high stress times. Those maybe are the times you go to your tried and true, because you don't have to think and be on all the time. You know what I mean by on? You don't have to worry about the stresses of all the new experiences and are you going to do it right and all that. You can just, hey, let's go back to Cancun, sit at our resort, and the people that like to do that, they can just chill out and they just love it. And
Well,
then they
sometimes
recharge and come home.
you get to know people in those places.
True.
You make friends with, I don't know, the servers or other people who also come down that same week to that resort. I've seen friends who are like, oh yeah, we're meeting our friends that we met at our resort and
Jamaica.
we're just going to
We
go
got-
back and visit them again and again.
We have 2 friends that go to Jamaica every single year, the same week every year. They know lots of people that go at the same time, and
Yeah.
they know everybody that works at the resort because they've been going to the same place forever.
Yeah, it's
And
like a family reunion
it
or
is.
something every year. Well, I mean, I can see that. I can see where that would be fun.
Can we
I
do
don't
that in Italy?
Yeah. Would anybody here like to join us in Italy in a weekly or
Weekly.
1 week?
A weekly.
1 week a year?
Yeah. All right. If you had 1 week starting right now, Julie,
Oh my gosh.
pretend that I'm sending you on a plane right now. No
wish.
plan, no overthinking. Where are you going?
Will I by myself? Am I going by myself? Because that would totally affect my decision.
Okay, pretend that I'm going to, if you prefer, let's say, okay, we are going, and you can't say it's a combo. That would be cheating. So it's either tried and true or it's something new.
Well, one of those things we always wanted to do was like challenge ourselves where we go to the airport and we look up at the board and we just pick a flight abroad to whatever the cheapest
Like in the
destination
movies.
is. It would like be totally spontaneous. So I could say something like that, but if we did something like that, most likely then it would be a somewhere new. You're probably not going to be like, well, let's go to, I don't know.
We would
I can't
probably
even I
ignore
can't
it
even
if it
think of
was,
something. It'd probably be abroad.
yeah.
But I always struggle with the pragmatic side of myself says, well, how would I pack for something like that? Because you don't know where you're going to end up. So, okay, forget that idea. So let's just pull something out of the air. I'm going to say Montenegro. How about that?
So you have been there before, though. Does that make it tried and true?
Okay, I have been there. We've been there. We were there for about 8 hours 8 years ago in about
In 106
108
degrees,
Yeah,
whatever it was,
like
yeah.
so hard. I hardly think that qualifies for a tried and true destination. It's just not a completely unfamiliar destination, but that's different. That's not the same.
Okay, so if we go there, can we go up that most dangerous road in the world? Can we rent scooters or a car and go and do that, please?
Heck no.
Come on. All right,
No, I don't
clearly
wanna do
the
that.
definition of these terms matter. So, bottom line is you didn't choose the happy place locales. So
No,
I
I
think
didn't.
that qualifies as somewhere new, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's at the top of my list to say we got to go to Montenegro if we've already seen it once in short form,
Like that.
and we didn't do it justice.
That's
but,
why I want to go back.
But maybe there's other places that you want to go see.
Well, I don't even feel like I really saw that. So, okay, I just had to pick something, but I would really actually like to do that. But I don't know. Are you coming with me to Montenegro?
Of course I am.
Even if you already are like,
Of course I am.
Where would you want to go instead?
Boy. I would like to take you to Malta.
Okay.
Now, I've been, and for me, that would be a tried and true because I will go there anytime anybody wants to
Wait,
go.
how can it be tried and true?
I've only been there once.
Doesn't that imply that it almost has to be
Multiple?
kind of? I mean, I guess you tried it and it was true, but
But it'd be something
I
new
almost
for
think
you.
it has to be a repeat in order to become a tried and true.
Okay, fine. But we just obviously don't know what we're talking about here. Or instead, you and I are preparing to leave soon on separate trips. Me with our youngest daughter, coincidentally, to Italy 5 days from now. Starting in Rome, of course, doing a little combo. And then moving north to Tuscany. And you with your mother to London and Paris, all destinations that are absolutely on our tried and true list.
I will miss you so much when you guys go do that, and I am equal parts excited to go back to London and Paris, but I'm super jealous that I'm not going with you to Italy. There's just so many places and so little time.
That's 100% correct.
Ugh.
We will
And so little money. We
we're
need
gonna
more
have-
money.
We're going to have so much to talk about when we get back home. One, because we leave within 2 days of you leaving, and then we arrive home within 2 days of you arriving home. And we got plenty of podcasts to talk about what we're going to be doing and seeing.
Well, I definitely want to do a podcast when I return because this has been on my mind for quite a while. What it's like traveling with your parents, and particularly if they have some mobility issues. And like, what is the ideal trip format? Do you plan it on your own so you have time and flexibility? Or do you go with a tour so that you've got guidance and assistance? Well, I've done it both ways. And then this third one, I'm hoping, I don't know, we'll see.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
interesting. I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear about your, how it goes and whether or not it's successful this time. I mean, would you consider your first 2 trips successful in the planning stages?
I absolutely would have considered them successful, but it had some setbacks, not setbacks.
They were all to
even.
Europe.
Yeah, they were. It just wasn't the perfect situation, on either one. So this one I'm hoping is literally kind of like a blend of the first 2. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But at any rate, we are totally getting off topic right now. But I did want to explore today the motivations behind tried and true destinations versus somewhere new destinations. And I do think we found some resolution as we've kind of talked through this and kind of some compromise. Ultimately, we decided what works best for us.
I agreed. I hope that we've inspired our listeners to consider their motivations, and perhaps that will help them work through some of their plans, on their yearly or bi-yearly or even every 5-year travel goals, like their trips. Maybe this gives them some guidance to say, hey, we've already been there. Maybe we should go try something new. Or they say, hey, we're kind of stressed. We just need a reset. Let's go back to a tried and true. And it kind of gives them some things to think about in doing so.
Yeah. And I think this has been fun today. I like it when we can discuss travel concepts sometimes and not just concentrate like on a single trip or destination and be delivering like tons and tons of information. It's just kind of fun to talk about these concepts. So we should let our listeners know that many of the places that we mentioned today, with the exception of the Key West and Charleston, but a lot of the other countries that we kind of mentioned are actually in previous podcasts. So if you want to go check them out, for example, you can hear all about our spectacular trip to Egypt, but we also cover France and Italy. We did London, Croatia.
I don't know if we talked about Montenegro. Maybe we did a little bit in the
We
Croatia.
did in the
Yeah,
Croatia one.
yeah,
We sure
that's right.
did.
All right. If you're listening to this one, then you know where to find the others. Thank you for tuning in. And please, 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 if you have a moment, we really would appreciate if you could like or follow, but leave a comment or review. I mean, that really helps us grow, and it lets the platforms know that we're out there, and it puts us in front of more people. So
Yeah.
we need your help. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. We value the input that you guys give. So, maybe you guys can send back what your tried and trues are, or what your next destination is, and tell us about why you chose that, or whatever. Just kind of, give us some insight back as to,
Yeah.
was this topic on point for you guys in making your decision? So
Yeah.
hope you had fun with us today. And
All
until
right.
next time,
Wheels up.